Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to reach out to me outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created or the Facebook group we have. There are links for those down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out the different meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 1047 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 270 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear those. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share that with the rest of us. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe there's something we can do to help you out. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. Hello. I hope everybody has had a wonderful day. It's been, 2 days since I've been on. I was on Monday. I was not able to go live yesterday. We had a sporting event for our son that we had to go to. And unfortunately, we got out there and everything was getting ready to go. And then they saw lightning, so they had to cancel that event. But I was unable to get on the live stream yesterday because of that. So I hope everybody's been good the last couple days here. Cindy's checking in saying hello Cindy, hope you're having a great day today. I don't know that I have a ton to talk about, but we'll see. Amy here says, hey John, I haven't been able to catch your streams lately. I was wondering if you're still doing weigh-ins. I am weighing in myself, but I'm not sharing them on the live stream right now. I know it is weigh-in Wednesday today, and if you guys weighed in today, let me know how your weight went. But I am not doing that currently. I'm trying to hold myself accountable, and it's something that I've been trying to do for the last few weeks here, or the last month, is to hold myself accountable because I realized that this channel has been a huge accountability platform for me. And it's helped me to stay on the diet and to lose weight, but it may not always be there. And so I want to be able to show that I can hold myself accountable, or give myself a chance to hold myself accountable before the end of the 3 years and see how I do. And so I haven't been doing the live weigh-ins. I've been very happy with my progress so far, but I'm just trying to hold myself accountable and see how I do from here until November 1st of 2023, when I complete the 3 years 3-year challenge that I set in front of myself. Michael here says that he was 237.2 as of yesterday. That's 22 pounds to reach his ultimate goal. BMI says 200 pounds, but that's a little too little for me because he's 6'2". And you like to have a little bit of meat on your bones. That's awesome that you are down you're down to 237. You're only 22 pounds away from your goal. That's great to hear that. And I hope that everything's been going well with you, and good luck on the last 22 pounds here. And that's, yeah, the BMI chart is kind of crazy because it just seems like it's so light, like when I look at the BMI for somebody who's my height, I'm 6 foot tall, so I'm not quite as tall as you are. I it's crazy to me that, somebody my height, to be a healthy BMI would be like 160 to 180 pounds. So, yeah, it seems so light, but, it's also, it's just weird, cause for me, at least, I never really even considered getting down to 250 pounds, let alone 220 prior to starting this challenge. And now that I'm here, I'm seeing I'm close. And it's like, I know I have extra body fat on me, but to think that I still have 70 pounds of extra body fat on me seems crazy. So I'm hoping to get to that goal and see where I'm at. And, eventually 200 pounds would be great, but, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be wild when I get that size and how skinny I'll end up being, when I do get to that point. Cindy here's saying, way to go, Michael, Pretty Girl's mom. Hello, Tennessee girl. Hi. Hope everything's going great for you guys today. Yeah, it's been a crazy day. I've been busy getting things done. It's a busy time of year. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. So yeah, it's been crazy today. I had my oatmeal kind of at probably later than normal. And then I didn't even eat lunch, or I didn't really get my lunch together until prior to this live stream. So like before, I have my big bowl of broccoli and potatoes right here, massive bowl of food, that, I'll have to eat at the end of the live stream here. I tried to get it in before, but, it would be, I didn't have time. So I'll have that to eat when we get done here. Pretty Girl's mom says, I think 200, would be ideal. Yeah, 200. I think that'd be awesome to get to 200 pounds and really to yeah, I mean, because yeah, the idea of being 200 pounds just makes me think of being skinny, and the idea of being considered skinny isn't something that, it's pretty foreign in my life, considering I've always been overweight or obese for as long as I can remember. So yeah, 200 would be awesome. And that's really gonna be probably my ultimate goal in the end, is to get down to 200 pounds. Cause, why not? I should be, it's, yeah, it's a weird kind of, position, to get to that, to get so close, or to be to that point where, I'm not the biggest guy in the room. And that's been a continual shift in my mind, like that I'm getting close to a healthy weight. I appear to be much healthier than I was when I started this. And, it's only getting better as I keep losing weight. So, so yeah, 200 would be awesome, but I'm going to work towards getting the 220 first, and then we'll get down to 200. But yeah, that would be awesome to get down to that weight. Gosh, I don't know, what to even talk about today. I mean, it's the, trying to think if anything came up in the last couple days to really go over much, but I'm just so happy with how things are going. I'm happy with where I'm at with my weight loss and with the diet, and it's pretty crazy that I've been doing this for so long. I'm at day 1047, I think is what it was, and that is that's just crazy that I've gone this far, that I've been able to do it for this long, that I've been sticking to it, or I've been focusing on my health and my well-being for 1,047 days, or almost 1,050 days so far. Cindy here asks if I'm listening to any books. I have not been listening to any books. I went to go buy one on Audible the other day, and we didn't have any credits. I'm trying to think of what the book was. Let me see. I put it in my wish list. Let me see if I can figure out which one it was. Yeah, okay. So it was one of the it was a book by Dan Buettner. And that's something I can talk about, I suppose, is me and Carrie spent some time and watched a Netflix series about the blue zones. And if you don't know what the blue zones are, I imagine many of you probably do that are watching this. But it is blue zones are areas where people have been seen, or it's been observed that people are living longer than in other areas of the world. And so there is a Netflix documentary on the blue zones where they travel to a few of the different places and talk about what they're doing in those areas that increase longevity or cause people to live longer. And the guy that is the host of the Netflix documentary, his name is Dan Buettner. So while we were watching the documentary, I was like, well, let me see if this guy's written any books. I was pretty sure that he had. And so I went through Amazon or Audible to see if there was any of his books. And one of them that I was looking at trying to listen to is called The Blue Zones of Happiness. And to check out check that out and see what he says, because at the end of the day, the reason why I started this challenge was to lose weight so I could live longer. I kind of had seen the writing was on the wall that if I continued to eat the way that I was eating and do the things that I was doing, that I was not too far away from having some sort of catastrophic event or developing a terminal illness. And I didn't want to do that. I have a wife and 4 kids at home, and I want to enjoy being around them and being with them for as long as possible. So for me, the underlying reason for the challenge was to increase my personal longevity. And if I can take advice from those who have been able to live for 90 or 100 plus years, that it would be worth taking some of that advice or seeing what they're doing to help increase their increase the time that they've been on this earth here. So that is one of the books that I've been looking at. I still didn't read. There was one book somebody had recommended. I'm just noticing on my wish list. It was called Walking with Petey. That was another one that I did not end up listening to yet that I'd be interested to listen to there. Cindy here says that Dr. Greger's new book is on. Cindy Davison just donated $49.99 through Super Chat. Thanks so much, Cindy. That's awesome. It says get some Audible credits. I will have to. I'll have to do that. Because yeah, that would be great. Well, now, yes. So yeah, I'll have to look at that and maybe pick up one of those books on Audible that we've talked about getting there. So thanks so much, Cindy. I really appreciate that. And the support is awesome. Thank you. Let's see here. Cindy says that she's also watching the series on Netflix. Amy says that she loved watching that. Carrie's checking and saying hello. I know Carrie really enjoyed the Blue Zone documentary and has already been trying to implement some of the different strategies that they put into the documentary. uh, coming from eating a plant-based diet here and seeing a lot of the information that I've seen on blue zones, there's been a big focus on, the diet that those people eat and how it's mostly a plant-based diet. If they eat animal protein, it's on occasion, or it's rare. It's not something like in the US, or for me, where I had meat with every meal or dairy and egg in every single meal. That is not the way it is in most of these blue zone areas. But what I found to be one of the more interesting aspects of the documentary was all of the other things that they talked about that led to longevity. It wasn't just eating a healthy diet, it was having an active life. When they talked to the people in Okinawa and Sardinia, the big focus on, one of the big things they talked about was how these people are constantly moving. I think in Okinawa, the big thing was that they were always gardening, and that was causing them to go from standing to the ground. And it was moderate or light physical activity. It wasn't going to the gym for a half hour every morning and trying to get their heart rate up and burning calories. It was just live life, make some food, tend a garden, and just be happy with that amount of activity. I think when they talked about the people in Sardinia, it was that it's a very hilly atmosphere, a hilly environment. So any traveling that they're doing is up and downhill, and just being active. And so we've tried to be a little bit more active, doing things manually versus automated around the house, and just trying to just, like I said, be a little more active. And some of that isn't just being active, but like getting up and down and moving your joints and bending your joints and doing, using your body to the fullest. The other aspect that they talked about a lot is the social aspect, and Carrie's actually chiming in and saying, and participating in social groups more often. That is something that is, you don't really think about it much. For us, we focus so much on family and doing things with our immediate family. But in the documentary, they do talk a lot about, neighborhoods and family groups, or not just family groups, but social groups, getting together and dancing at night. I believe one of the places that they talked about, they did a lot of socializing, a lot of hanging out, and just being around each other more. And so that's something where we could definitely increase, our participation in social groups. And it's a little bit odd, because I've talked about it, is that when I was at my heaviest, I didn't want anybody to see me. So I think that it kind of feeds into itself. If you're overweight and you're not going out and seeing people and doing things, then it tends to create, loneliness within yourself. And while I had my wife and my kids around and I would do things with them, I was a bit lonely as far as socially. Like I had one or two friends that I would communicate with or maybe hang out with on occasion, but I wasn't real open to seeing new people or being around new people, or and I just had a silly thing that I was thinking about with this. My son had that sporting event yesterday, and he's just going into middle school. And when you go into middle school, you end up meeting a lot of different kids because all of the elementary schools in our area kind of pool into one middle school. So there's a lot of new interactions for the kids, and my son had made a new friend through cross country is the sporting event that he's doing, and also has some classes with that kid. And at the event yesterday, I met that kid's parents for the first time. And it's, I didn't really think much of it at the time. It was just a normal conversation, introducing ourselves, ask, what we do. But I don't have that underlying level of embarrassment from just being me that I had when I was at 520 pounds. If I would have been meeting these people for the first time at 520 pounds, my mind would have been racing about all of the different ways they're judging me or my child or our lifestyle based on the size that I am. I mean, even at 250 pounds, I'm still larger than they are, but I'm not like orca fat. It's a reference to what movie is that? Oh my gosh. Kevin Spacey, Usual Suspects. So anyways, yeah, and it's weird too, because I'm not 520 pounds. So I didn't have any of those thoughts that I would have had at 520 pounds, but I know that I would have had those thoughts if I was still 520 pounds. So losing the weight has helped make me open to having more social interactions and being part of other social groups. We recently been involved with hanging out or doing things this summer. We went to a couple of the Plant Pure Nation. We have a local pod for the Plant Pure Nation, and going to those events and meeting new people again is much easier for me at 250 pounds than it was at 520 pounds. So it's something that not just, after watching the series and realizing that, the longevity isn't just through diet, and it may be a big part of it might be through diet, but there's these other aspects. There's the social aspect, and then there's the physical aspect of moving and using your body. And at 520 pounds, I was doing all of the wrong things because I was not only eating the wrong food, I was not being social, and I wasn't moving around doing day-to-day tasks. My motion at 520 pounds was really limited to going from the front door to the car, from the car into the office, and then the reverse of that on my way home. There wasn't a lot of physical activity. And then I would avoid doing yard work or doing things that appeared to be strenuous activities, because I knew how much effort I would have to put to do them. And then also the pain I would end up feeling for days after doing those events, because it was a limited thing. If I was overweight and being active every day, it would be something different, but I was overweight and I was inactive. And so when I would bump up my activity level, it would be hard on me. It would be much harder on my body than before. Pretty Girl's mom here says that Walking with Petey was great. Yes, I'm going to have to check that out. That's one of the books that has been recommended a couple times. And so I'm going to check that out. And maybe that's, that activity part of it, the doing things, taking the dog for a walk. It might be just something as simple as that. And Also, taking the dog for a walk is a great way to meet people too, because you end up they see the dog, they pet the dog, you talk to them, and it creates a social environment. So you're getting the workout, and sometimes you can add social to it. Barbie Rules here is saying, sorry I'm late. So far, they have lost 13 pounds since August 19th. They got 107 pounds to go. That is awesome, Barbie. I know you were checking in. And so in less than a month here, you've been able to lose 13 pounds. How has it been? Has it been difficult to eat differently, or have you had a hard time staying on the diet? Seeing the 13 pounds down, I'm sure helps a ton with continuing to motivate you to keep going. And then, yeah, the 107 to go, if you keep eating this way, eventually you'll get there. Don't be in a rush to get it off. It's going to come off. You just have to continue to be compliant, eat well, and you'll see amazing things. But yeah, if you get a chance, let us know how the diet's going for you. Have you been active, or have you been doing more around? Have you noticed any joint pain go away? That was something big for me, was the reduction in joint pain. Obviously, losing weight helps reduce joint pain, but I think that the reduction in inflammation from eating a better diet has also helped with my overall pain. So let's see here. Barbie says, thanks. If I watch, I miss your live. It's really easy so far. And you're Cajun. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's some great foods that you can adapt to fit the diet, or you can still get some of those flavors because, spices are not out of the diet. It's just some of the spices might be, but overall, I'm sure you'll be able to find some spices, and hopefully you've been able to find some recipes that you enjoy. It sounds like things are going great. So thanks so much for checking in with us and letting us know. You passed up Baudine and Cracklins this week. I got to tell you, I don't know what either of those things. I got an idea what Cracklins is, but I'm going to type this in and see what comes up. And what does it say? What are Baudine and Cracklins? Baudine is rice, meat, and seasoning mixture that is stuffed into a sausage casing. So it's a Cajun sausage, and cracklings are fried pork rinds. I figured cracklings was something fried. So they're fried pork rinds. So yes, those are all great things to give up. Yeah, that's just seeing the meat and seasoning like stuffed into a sausage casing. Yeah, it's something where those types of things, I think, as it seems so crazy to say no to things, right? Because you've been eating them for so long. So it's great that you were able to say no to that. And it's and with this diet, I feel like it's so much easier to say no to foods because you're not hungry. You're not starving yourself. If you were doing some of those old diets like I used to do in the past, that I think a lot of people do, these moderation diets, these low calorie diets, that when you're presented with something that is in the past has been a temptation for you, it's easier to resist that temptation because you're full. You're not walking around starving all day. You actually get to eat food, and Barbie here says it doesn't interest you anymore. And that's awesome, and you're only a month into it too, so it's crazy how quickly we can, I keep hitting my mic. Sorry guys. How quickly we can change our taste preference. Hold on one second. I gotta do something. All right, I think that's better. I hope. We'll see. Yeah, the taste preference thing, and I think I talked to you a little bit about it when you first got on here and were asking us about things, but it takes time to adapt. Just like your eyes take time to adapt to different light sources. You know, I'm in a very bright room right now, so my pupils are real small. If I walk into the next room where it's darker, at first it's hard for me to see, but my eyes adjust, and then after my eyes adjust, everything seems just as bright as the room I'm in now. Our taste buds are the same way. We're eating this diet that is full of salt and oil and sugar and these high dopamine responsive foods. Your body gets used to being in that environment. And so when you change your environment and you change to eating foods that aren't going to stimulate you in that same way, it seems dull or it seems boring. And it just takes a little bit of time for you to get used to that. And then you start to notice the flavors in that food that originally was dull or boring. That's something that I would say was an odd realization throughout the past 1,000 days, is that I can eat the same food from one meal to the next, but they have a different flavor. It's hard to let me see if I can figure out the best way to explain it, but it would be like, even with the potatoes I have, like we eat a lot of golden potatoes or maybe yellow potatoes. And sometimes I'll have these potatoes and they'll taste a certain way. They don't mash up very good. Well, they're kind of harder. And they just have a different taste. Then the next time I have some potatoes, they're softer and they turn into mashed potatoes a little bit easier. And they'll have a different flavor to them a bit. And really the place where I've noticed the biggest flavor differences is with oranges. You know, like when we get these oranges, we can have one bag from the same company, and then a week later we can buy another bag from that company, and the oranges taste completely different. And all of our food has that variety of taste, or flavors. But because we put salt, oil, and sugar in the food, it all like levels it out. So the potatoes that you get, I'm trying to think of like an example from before, like you would go to a fast food restaurant and you would get their French fries. And one time you'd get their French fries and you'd think, wow, these are amazing. The next time you get them and they'd be soggy, or there'd be something different about them. They wouldn't be cooked just right or overcooked. But because they were fried in oil and because they had salt on them, it leveled out the flavor, or it equalized the flavor. So even though the potatoes don't taste good, you still eat them because they've enhanced the flavor, or they've changed the flavor of the potato. And so for me, I've noticed that there's such a variety in taste, even within the same type of food. And you are able to distinguish that taste because you've removed we removed the salt, oil, and sugar, but you removed that kind of thing that was evening out the flavor, I guess. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Carrie's saying, awesome, Barbie. Saying no to those things gets easier and easier, and your confidence grows each time you refuse them. Yes, that is something that I absolutely loved about reading the Pleasure Trap book. And if you haven't read the Pleasure Trap or listened to the Pleasure Trap, I recommend it. The clinic, or they talk about water fasting, they talk about what they do, but they also talk a lot about the sociological and psychological aspects of dieting and losing weight. And one of my favorite parts about the book is them talking about overcoming the temptations at social events. They give an example of, you go to a Thanksgiving or a Christmas or a holiday party, and your aunt is at the party, and she comes up to you and she's like, "Hey, I made your absolute favorite dessert. I know you love the apple pie I make, or whatever, the chocolate cake that I make, and I made it special for you." And you have to say no. You have to disappoint that person and say, "Well, that's great, but I'm not eating that stuff right now because the diet I'm doing seems to be working for me." And then they push and push, and you have to get through that temptation. You have to get through them pushing you to do that. And if you can succeed, if you can get through that event, then the next time the event happens, that person may say, "Well, they didn't eat, I made it specially for them last time. They didn't eat it, so I'm not even going to make it this time." So it might not even be there as a temptation. Or maybe they're really making it for themselves, but they say they made it for you, so they still make it, they still bring it. But they might not push you as hard. Or even if they do push you as hard or push you harder, you can lean back on the fact that you succeeded the previous time and say, "I got through the last holiday. I was able to not eat the food. I survived. I'm still here. So obviously I can get through these holiday parties without having the chocolate cake." And you can use that as fuel to keep you going. And like Carrie says, it gets easier, and your confidence grows the more you're able to refuse those things. And you can hold on to that and be like, "I succeeded last time, I'm going to succeed this time." And the opposite, though, is if you do fail, if you do give into that temptation, then that person's going to ask you again the next time. They're going to bring it again the next time. And you're going to have to fight to resist that temptation. And if, once you can do it once, it makes it much easier to do it again. So that's awesome, Barbie. Thanks for sharing. And I wish you just incredible, not even luck, just do it. You can get it done. You can do it. It'll be amazing. And yeah, it's worth it. It really is. Like I said earlier, for me, this is about longevity. And I know that I've already increased the length of time that I'm going to be on this planet because I changed my diet. It was, I was in pretty bad health spot when I started this. Tammy's checking in saying, "Hi, everyone." Hi, Tammy. I hope you're having a great day. Just kind of rambling today. I don't have any specific topic or any specific thing to talk about. It's been pretty busy week here. I'm hoping at the end of the week here, my life will get a little bit less hectic, but that generally doesn't happen for me. But yeah, a plant-based diet saved my life. That's the topic here. And that was a little bit of what I talked about already, just increasing the longevity. It's not only saved my life, but it's given me new life. It's allowed me to be more social and be more active, and do those things that they talk about all these people within the blue zones are doing to help increase their lifespan. And so I'm happy that I'm still here, because I really believe that had I not made the changes that I made and lost the weight that I lost, that I would have suffered a some sort of traumatic event in the last 3 years. And so, yeah, when I started this, the 3 years was not guaranteed. And now I'm happy to be within 50 days of finishing that 3 years. So I'm excited for that. Let's see, I don't know. The other thing I kind of thought about talking about was just how crazy, I don't even know. Not even sure what to talk about. See if I have anything here. Yeah, I mean, it's eating this way is just so different. And I see all kinds of people doing all kinds of different programs, trying to lose weight in all kinds of different ways. And I think back of how many of those, I see people doing them, and I see how they're going down the same path I went down so many times, of eating in moderation and trying to work out. And it's something where that model has such a great success for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, if you can maintain it for that long. Or sometimes people are able to maintain it for a very long time, but it's really hard to do that forever. And that's something that was a goal when I started this, was to find out how to eat my forever diet, not just eat my weight loss diet. And I found my forever diet. I found the diet that I need to eat, that I can eat forever to lose weight. And I'm very happy with that. The Shrinking Shadows checking in saying, hi everyone, darn I'm late. No problem, Shrinking Shadow. Thanks for checking in. I hope everything's going great with you. I know I've mentioned this before, but Shrinking Shadow does have a YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked out her YouTube channel, I would encourage you to go check it out. She was doing a potato reset the last I had seen. I think that's right. And so, yeah, I'd love to know how things are going with you. Tammy here says that her husband is looking at my weight loss numbers, and he says, is it encouraging to him to want to do better? That's awesome. Yeah, and it's about just chaining days of consistency together. It's not going to be something where you lose the weight right away, or you get, rid of the whatever you're trying to get away from, whether it's weight loss, being obese or diabetes or heart disease, whatever you're trying to get away from. Being consistent is going to be the number one factor. I wanted to find a diet that I could eat forever, that I could consistently eat, and I could be satisfied with. And I didn't know that this was that diet. I didn't know that eating a plant-based diet was what was going to be the fix for me. I never thought of eating a plant-based diet prior to actually implementing it with this diet. It was gonna be, low carb and fasting for me. So it's been such a wild shift in my mindset and my mentality. Like I said earlier in this video, I didn't consider it a meal unless I had some sort of meat, dairy, or egg on it. And now I couldn't even imagine having meat, dairy, or egg in any of my meals. And that's just such a change. And this diet has really allowed me to literally feed into the the one issue that I always knew I had. And the issue that I always knew I had was that I I could eat more food than anybody around me. And I wanted to eat more food than anybody around me. And I would eat more food than anyone around me. And that's just who I am. It's part of me. And I'm sure it's part of so many other people out there. There's such a spectrum of diet. You know, there's some people that hardly eat anything. And then there's people like me that eat everything. And that is what got me to 520 pounds. But I just thought I thought I was broken. I thought there was something broken in me, that I didn't have that off switch. I didn't have that I'm full switch. And what I realize now is that might be the case. I might have a different off switch, or my off switch might be a little broken, I guess. But I don't need to change me. I needed to change my diet. And with having a broken off switch, eating foods that are 1,500 calories per pound or 2,000 calories per pound was putting me in such a calorie surplus every single day that there was no chance I would be able to lose weight. But now, eating foods that have a calorie density of 200, 300, 500 calories per pound, I can eat that same amount of food that I used to be eating, that I thought I was broken because I was eating that amount of food, and I can still be in a calorie deficit, because when you multiply 300 calories per pound times 10 pounds of food, which I don't eat anywhere near 10 pounds of food, but that's only 3,000 calories. If I was eating foods at 1,500 calories per pound and I was eating 10 pounds of food, that's 15,000 calories. You know, it's 5 times the amount of calories for the same volume of food. And that's what our bodies measure. Your body does not have a calorie measurement tool within it. Your body has a volume measurement tool within it. And that's what you have to work with. You have to work with volume and not calories. But society in our world has it all wrapped up into this calorie mindset, and you need to get away from that. You need to not worry about being under 2,000 calories a day or 3,000 calories a day. You need to look at, how can I be satisfied and still be under those calories, I guess. But and calorie density does that for me. It allows me to eat that volume of food that I crave, but also keep the calories down. The other part of it too is, because I'm eating whole foods, my body isn't absorbing every single calorie that I eat. If I were to eat let's say 300 calories worth of apples, let's say I eat 1.5 pounds of apples, or 1 pound of apples, my body is going to absorb maybe 250 calories, or maybe it'll get to 275 of those 300 calories, but it's not going to absorb all 300 calories, because there's the skin of the apple, there's the fiber in the apple, and your body has to work to release those calories from the food. So I may not absorb all 207 or all 300 calories, and I'm also going to burn an extra 5 or 10 calories trying to absorb those 300 calories from the apple. But if I turn around and drink 300 calories of apple juice, where there's no fiber and there's no skin, then my body is much more likely to absorb all 300 calories, and it doesn't have to put any energy out to absorb those calories. It just drinks it, you just drink it in, that liquid just gets absorbed right through my intestinal lining. There's no skin or fiber to make that more difficult. And so it's not just eating plant food, it's eating the whole food. It's eating the food with the skin and with the fiber, so that you have the whole product. You're not just eating the sugary part of it, or the dopamine responsive part of it here. Shrinking Shadow says that they're doing good. They're not doing potatoes anymore, but still incorporating a lot of them into your diet. I am too. I showed this earlier. This is my lunch. This is a big bowl of potato and broccoli here that I have for lunch, that I haven't had a chance to finish here. But let's see. Shrinking Shadow says, I'm still having trouble believing that you can eat all you want of the whole plant food and still lose weight. I'm so used to thinking the opposite. Yes, it's absolutely my mindset throughout all of my life up until this. And it wasn't until I proved myself wrong that I realized that it was true. I'd have to go, there's some early videos when we were first trying to learn what to eat or different things to eat. And I so remember it in my head, just the day before a weigh-in, we had brown rice pasta with homemade marinara sauce. And I went to town. I was like, I'm bought. I can't stop eating. It tastes amazing. And I'm just so hungry. I just ate so much of it. And then I got frustrated with myself that I ate so much. And I was like, man, I got to weigh in tomorrow. And it's not going to be a great weigh-in because I ate so much of this brown rice pasta with marinara sauce. And then I got on the scale the next day and I was a pound down from the week before. It didn't have the effect that I thought it was going to have because I had that old mentality. Now, had that been white pasta with marinara and meat and oil and all of the other stuff that I used to eat, then maybe I would have gained the weight. Maybe it wouldn't have been a weight loss that week. But because of the foods I chose to eat, I was able to eat a large volume of it and still lose weight. So that was something that you just got to do it. And at the end of it too is I feel so healthy eating this way. My insides feel good. My body feels good. And really from the time that I was at like 400 pounds and down, I really kind of developed this mindset of, even if I didn't lose another pound, eating this food makes me healthier. It makes me better. And so I'm going to continue to eat this food. Thankfully, it didn't stop losing weight and I continued to lose weight, but I know it was a definite shift in what I believed was true. And what I realize now is that it really is the content of your diet that makes a huge difference. So, keep it up, the Shrinking Shadow. And I'm really rooting for you. And I'm excited to hear about all your success. So stick with it. Tammy here asks, do I eat rice? If so, is there a specific kind and brand? I have been craving rice, which I don't usually eat. Rice is a fun topic. Carrie, so we eat brown rice. Carrie's kind of answering that in the chat there. And she says that we buy it like in 5-pound bags because it'll go bad. I was wanting to stockpile some foods, and we looked into doing brown rice, and we did have a lot of brown rice at one time in our pantry, but we've kind of reduce that down. Yes, I eat rice. We eat brown rice. Rice is I feel like I feel compelled to tell this story about rice every time it comes up, is that I hate rice. My whole life I have hated rice. I can remember sitting at my kitchen table in the house I lived in when I was in 2nd grade, arguing with my mom and my family about eating rice, and I wouldn't eat it. And they would take it and they would put milk on it and cinnamon and try anything to get me to eat the rice, and I would not eat rice. And that stuck with me for years. I would go to Mexican restaurants where they would serve an entree with a side of rice and beans. And part of my ordering process would be, and I'd like to get all rice, no beans. I'm sorry, I'd like to get all beans, no rice. The other way around. I would go to a Chinese restaurant and they would have fried rice as something that came with the meal. And I would be like, hey, can I get some of the lo mein noodles instead of the rice? There was always an upcharge for it, but I would get lo mein noodles instead of rice. And so I avoided rice as much as possible. And so when we started this diet, I didn't know what it would be like, but I opened up my mind. And I said, I'm going to, I got like something on my nose. I feel like it's a booger, but it's not, or it's not going away. The rice, I just said, I'm gonna try these things, eating a salad, eating rice, having, celery. I used to hate celery too. And so I allowed myself to have that stuff, or I kind of forced myself to eat that stuff because it's part of the diet. And now I love rice. I think it's awesome. We have Spanish rice all the time. I eat rice in just about, every few days we have something with rice. And so, but we only eat, or I only eat brown rice. I honestly, I don't know if I've even had white rice since I started this. Let me think. I don't know that I've had white rice in the past 3 years. I know we haven't had it at home. I'm trying to think if I ever went out to eat and had white rice. But yeah. Yeah, we eat brown rice. That's what we have. Tammy says, I didn't know that brown rice could go bad. Carrie says it's not like rancid, but it sheds its outer layer a bit, and those pieces are kind of hard to eat. Yeah, and that's just something that yeah, we kind of had to learn because we didn't have rice around the house before we started this diet. And so let's see here. Shrinking Shadow says, thanks. You're welcome, Shrinking Shadow. And then you ask, have I tried oat groats in place of rice? It's so good. And you make yours in the Instapot with beans. You love brown rice, but oat groats have a great chewy texture. I eat oat groats every single day. We have oatmeal for breakfast. And our oatmeal is a mix of oat groats and steel cut oats that we cook in the Instapot. And I love oat groats. One of the things that I read in one of the books, they talk about how much money and effort these companies put into creating textures within their foods, crunchiness, or like they engineer the food to be the most dopamine stimulating, most pleasurable food, and they spend a lot of time on texture. I think that's I want to say Cheetos is one of those companies where the texture of the Cheeto is a huge part of the appeal of the product. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because when it comes to rice and oat groats, something that I've noticed personally is that I love chewing that food. I'll take a spoonful of rice and I'll put it in my mouth, or oat groats, especially, like you said, they're very chewy. They have a great texture to them. And I'll put it in my mouth and I'll start chewing it and I'll chew it up. And then I'll find myself like manipulating individual grains of the oat groat or grains of the rice in my mouth between, my front teeth, and mashing and breaking the food up. And there's some sort of primal satisfaction in doing that I don't know where it comes from, but I notice it, like, and I think that it leads to my satisfaction with the diet, and it helps keep me on diet. Just something as simple as chewing up oat groats in my mouth. And I don't know. It's like, I never thought about it before, but it's just something that I all the time, like, I know I do it. And it's gotta be part of that primal brain thing. It's not an active thing or something that's different. Cause like I said, I hated rice. Like, I wouldn't even try it, but I love the texture of brown rice and the chewing of brown rice and the chewing of oat groats and farro and barley, all of these small grain vegetables that I never had before. Bulgur wheat is a little bit already finer than that, but that stuff is so satisfying to chew, and it helps with the diet. I think that we we have some sort of mechanism in our head that chewing activates, that it improves our mood and our satisfaction with the diet. Tricking Shadow says, yes, I do that too. Ha ha ha. I thought, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yes. That's awesome, Tricking Shadow. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And it's gotta be, like I said, it's, and the idea of feeding into that instinct, or that, like I said, the primalness of it, makes me even happier with the diet, because when I started this challenge, that was a big part of it. Is I wanted to get as far away from the processed crap food that I was eating to eating a more natural diet. And honestly, when I started this, if you had me write down a list of the diets I thought I was going to be doing, I think at the top of that list would have been the word paleo. And because that was where my head was, that I wanted to get and eat a primal, or a diet that humans used to eat. And I realize now that I believe that this is a paleo diet. Eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I think, is much closer to what our ancestors ate than any other diet out there. I mean, and not just our ancestors, 100 or 200, I'm talking 5,000, 10,000 years ago ancestors. There's a lot out there saying that they were meat eaters, and they were hunter gatherers. And I think that it's a misconception. I think that we were gatherer hunters. I don't think we were hunter gatherers. I think we were gatherer hunters. I think that if I was standing in a field with an apple tree next to me and a deer next to me, that I would eat all of the apples off that tree before I ever considered taking the effort to killing a deer and eating the deer. And I believe our ancestors were that way. I think that archaeologists have done a disservice by talking about all of the animals that people ate in our history. And it's because animals leave evidence that they were consumed. We don't eat the bones of animals. And so there'll be animal bones laying around, and then those get fossilized. Potatoes don't fossilize. And there's nothing left over. They would have eaten the whole potato. And so the idea that we were sustaining ourselves on a animal-based diet, I think, is a misconception. I think that it's because the plants don't leave evidence of being eaten that they get skipped. And animals aren't easy to eat. Like, they're not easy to get. Like, no animal wants to get captured. So I don't believe that part of the motivational triad is conserve energy. All animals are pushed by this motivational triad to seek pleasure, to avoid pain, and to conserve energy. And I believe that we try to conserve energy. And if it's a choice between picking an apple out of a tree or catching a rabbit, we're going to pick the apple every time. And then if you run out of apples, then you might start looking at the rabbit. But while you're chasing the rabbit, if you come across a berry bush, you're going to stop and you're going to eat the berries off the bush. And yeah, so I think that we ate a lot more plants than history tries to portray, or history even knows, because there's no evidence. They don't see the evidence. But I think we would have lived in environments where there was a lot of vegetables, and that we would have chosen that over killing a rabbit. And then if you really want to get into the woods, I think that we probably would have eaten a lot more insects, because those would have been easier to eat. But that's not anything I'm entertaining, and it's not anything we need to do in a modern society. But let's see. Tammy here says that they've never tried oat groats. You should give it a try. They're really good. But we eat steel cut oats with our oat groats, because oat groats are they're real dense, I guess. So having the steel cut oats is nice. Tammy here says, have you and your wife tried a mono meal for a specific time? And if so, what do you think about it? I think that mono dieting is a great way to reset your system. This is a recommendation I give a lot of times to people who are considering changing their diet. For me, I mono dieted for 42 days. I just drank water. That was my mono diet, was water. I don't believe you have to do a 42-day water fast to succeed. But I believe you have to get away from the food you're eating. Again, the pleasure trap talks a lot about it's the absence of the junk food that's going to improve your health, or it's the presence of the junk food that's hurting you. And it's hard to get away from. And if you can mono diet for a short period of time, I believe it's a great reset. Like I wouldn't really ever recommend to anybody to do a 40-day water fast like I did. But I would recommend using water fasting, using mono dieting, or using a juice fast to reset your diet, to look at what you're doing and say, okay, I need to get rid of all of this stuff. So I'm going to spend 3 days just eating potatoes, just having juice, or fasting. And then after that 3 days, I'm going to change something about my diet. Because so prior to this channel, I had done a water fast. It was either in 2018 or 2019. I did a water fast for 30 days. And that's kind of why I had the confidence going into this, that I felt like I could do it again. But what happened to me was that I was eating an awful diet. I had gotten up to like 480 pounds. And I had been seeing stuff on the internet, videos of people who were doing water fasting. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And I played around with it a little bit before I jumped into it. But I did a 30-day water fast and I lost 60 pounds. And it's like, I figured it out. I mean, people don't have to eat all the time. I can just fast and I can lose weight. And so I did the 30-day water fast. I was a little concerned about refeeding, but not like super concerned about it. And so I spent a day or two eating less food or eating a small amount of food. But within a week of completing that water fast, losing 60 pounds, I was at the drive-through ordering fast food. And then fast forward to 2020, and that 60 pounds I had lost, I had regained plus an additional 60 pounds because I didn't change my diet. And that's what I believe you should do. Like, if you're going to water fast and not change your diet, you're wasting your time. If you're going to do a potato reset, if you're going to do a rice diet, if you're going to do a juice fast, and then you go back to the way you were eating, there was no point of doing it. I believe that the best use for those things is to remove stuff from your diet. Maybe you're eating a pretty healthy diet, but you can't get rid of the coffee. You know, you're eating a good diet, but you can't get rid of the sugar or the oil. Spend a couple days doing a mono diet. Remove the stuff from your diet that you shouldn't be having, and then reintroduce foods. But don't introduce all of those foods again. And so that's my opinion on that. Let's see. Tammy says, is there a specific water that you would recommend since there are so many brands? No. With water fasting, I just drank tap water, or I drank, I would have bottled water occasionally, but there was no specific brand of water. I did try to do a second water fast a few months after my first one from this channel, in March of 2021. And during that time, I tried to drink only distilled water, and I did okay on the fast. I was going to try to do a long fast. I think I fasted for 10 days. I don't think it was the distilled water that caused me any problems. I think it was the fact that I tried to water fast too soon after my previous water fast. But I drank distilled water because that's what they do at the True North Clinic. Is they have their residents drink a distilled water. So that would be the only thing you might try that. But there's really no minerals or anything in distilled water. So yeah, I guess that's my recommendation. There's no specific brand. Yeah, like I said, it's, if you're going to water fast, have a plan for your refeed, figure out your refeed, figure out, and have that refeed food available, in case you can't make it as long as you hoped that you were going to make it. Because if you say, okay, I'm going to water fast for 14 days, but then 7 days in, you get to the point where you can't keep doing it, and all you have in your house is junk food, then you're going to eat junk food. But if you're, 7 days in and you have fruits and vegetables in your house or juice in your house, then you're more likely to go for those foods, or you're at least you have those foods as you're giving yourself a chance. You have them as an option. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. I kind of went long after saying I didn't know what I was going to talk about, and then you guys got me going here for an hour and 15 minutes. If there's any other questions, throw them down in the chat now, and I'll try to answer them here before I head off. But things have been going awesome. I'm very happy with my weight loss, and I'm very happy with the diet so far. The I never would have predicted that I'd be where I'm at right now. I hoped that I would be here, but I don't know that I ever truly thought it was actually going to happen. So I'm very happy with how things have been going, and I'm excited to do these last. I think I got 47 days left here. So yeah, it's been good so far, and I'm looking forward to the end of the challenge, and really the rest of my life eating this way. You know, like that's gonna be at the end of the 3 years. You know, maybe I'll start a new challenge to by 3-year challenge to maintain my weight loss. Who knows? But I'm very happy with the progress so far, and I'm happy with the diet. No other diet in the past do I get to eat this amount of food and not feel guilty about it. And that's something that I couldn't have predicted going in. So I'm very happy with it. Thank you guys so much for following along and supporting me throughout this whole challenge. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon, click on that bell icon. If you've not hit the thumbs up on the video, make sure you hit that like button on this video. It really does help the channel out. You know, if yeah, just get started, guys. Yeah, if you have not started yet, get started. Nobody reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have started sooner. I kick myself all the time. You know, it was 6 months before I started this challenge that I first saw that I was over 500 pounds. And if I would have been motivated enough to get started at that time, I'd be 6 months further down the road than I am now. So get started, and it's definitely worth it. I will talk to you guys later.